Okay, let's be real for a sec. Have you ever felt like you need like a PhD in economics just to understand college tuition?
It's definitely its own language.
Right, it's a total mystery. That's why we're doing this deep dive into this article you sent in.
Yeah, great topic.
We've got to decode this whole tuition cost thing. No more sticker shock, people, just the facts.
Totally agree. And honestly, just understanding how those costs break down is huge.
Yeah.
It's the first step to feeling like you can actually do this,
I
you
want it.
know?
Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
And this article does not mess around. It just comes right out and says it private university tuition up 41% since 2005.
Wow.
41%.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
Even if you factor in inflation, which, yeah, everything's more expensive now, but still.
Right, it's significant. The article talks about a few reasons why inflation, obviously, but also colleges are doing more these days. They're offering more than just classes.
Yeah, yeah.
They have all these support services now, mental health resources, which, let's face it, are so important for students these days.
So true. It's not just about, like, textbooks and lectures anymore, is it?
Exactly. It's a more holistic approach to education.
Okay, but here's where I got confused. The article mentioned this whole thing about sticker price versus what you actually end up paying for college. Are those the same thing?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question,
Or
right?
like,
So the sticker price is basically the number they advertise, but what you actually pay, that's where this magical thing called net price comes in.
that price, okay.
Basically, it's the sticker price minus any scholarships, grants, financial aid you get.
Oh, I see. So it could be a lot lower.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
often is. And Ed, get this, the article says every college has to have this thing called a net price calculator on their website.
Wait, oh, what calculator? I've never even heard of that.
Right. It's like this secret weapon that nobody tells you about. You put in some basic information about your finances,
Okay.
and it estimates what you might actually pay to go to that school.
So even if a school's sticker price is like totally freaking me out,
Yeah.
their net price could be like, oh, okay, maybe we can work with this.
Exactly. The article even uses Princeton as an example. Like, yeah, their sticker price is intimidating, but after financial aid, the average net cost is way lower, closer to $12,000.
Wow. Okay, my mind is blown. So don't freak out just seeing those initial numbers. But what about state schools? Those are still the cheapest way to go, right? That's
Mhm.
what the article seemed to say.
That's the common thought, for sure. And yeah, often if you go to a public university in your home state, you're an in-state student, that usually means the lowest sticker price. But here's the thing. Some private schools can actually be pretty comparable because of this thing called tuition discounting.
Tuition discounting. Okay, now you're speaking my language. Is that like a sale on college?
Think of it that way. Private colleges, they use this to offer these big discounts. They don't always advertise it. The article says these discounts averaged over 50% for first-year students. Yeah. And then there are these regional programs, like in New England, they have this tuition break thing. Basically, if you're from out of state, you can get reduced tuition at public colleges in New England.
So many options. But the article also mentions some schools are totally tuition free. How does that even work? Is that for real?
Well, it's not always as simple as it sounds. There's usually a catch, right?
Yeah.
Like military academies, they'll cover your tuition, but then you have to serve after you graduate.
Right, of course.
And some colleges, they might have you work on campus to cover the cost. The article mentioned a couple of these, Alice Lloyd College and Warren Wilson College, something like that.
Okay, so free tuition is out there, but you're not off the hook completely.
Right.
There's always a trade-off. What about these promise programs the article talked about? Those seemed interesting. Are those another way to get free tuition?
Promise programs are pretty cool, actually. They offer scholarships, and some of them cover all your tuition and fees.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like there's this one in New York, the Excelsior Scholarship. It covers 2-year and 4-year degrees.
Wow, that's amazing, especially for families who, every dollar counts.
Huge help.
But I feel like there are probably some downsides, right? The article kind of hinted at that.
Yeah, you're right. Usually there are some requirements. You might have to live in a certain state, or your family income can't be too high.
Oh,
And this is important. Just because they say tuition free doesn't mean everything is free, you know?
right, right.
You still got housing costs, books.
Textbooks are so expensive.
I know. Tell me about it. And don't forget about food. You got to eat.
Oh, yeah, all those late night study snacks.
Exactly. It all adds up.
Speaking of adding up, the article also talked about the difference between tuition and fees, which, I'll be honest, I never really thought about before.
Oh, yeah, it's a good distinction to make. Tuition is really just for the instruction part, the classes themselves.
Okay.
Fees, that's everything else, using the gym, the library, computer labs, sometimes even health services.
Oh, so those fees could really change how much a school actually costs.
Oh, absolutely. The article even quotes this one expert who said that some state schools use fees to kind of make up for costs that they can't raise tuition for.
Oh, interesting, because of state budgets and stuff.
Exactly. They're trying to work around those limitations.
Wow, it's like a whole puzzle. Okay, so let's go back to these net price calculators for a sec, because I'm still kind of stuck on those. How do they even work?
They're actually pretty simple. You just enter information about your family's financial situation, like your income, what assets you have, how many people are in your household, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then the calculator takes all that and combines it with the college's financial aid policies, and then boom, it estimates what you might get for financial aid.
So it's not just about like need-based aid.
Nope.
It could include merit-based scholarships too.
Totally. It looks at everything. It's
Mm.
trying to give you the most accurate picture possible.
That's amazing. I wish I had known about these things when I was applying to college.
Right. It's a game changer.
Seriously.
And that's really the point the article is trying to make, right?
Yeah.
Don't get too hung up on that initial sticker price. You got to do your research, see what kind of financial aid is out there. You might be surprised.
Right. Your dream school might actually be within reach.
You never know.
I thought it was really interesting how the article gave all these examples of different schools, like on both ends of the spectrum.
Hmm.
You've got places like USC, Brown, our guys. Their published tuition prices are crazy high.
Yeah, definitely some big names on that list.
But then you have schools like Princeton, Harvard, Stanford. They have amazing financial aid packages.
Yeah, their net price can actually end up being much lower for a lot of students.
It's wild.
It is.
It really is all about that sticker price versus net price difference.
And make a huge difference.
Speaking of different, I was super intrigued by those tuition-free colleges, even with those requirements,
Yeah.
Military academies, Alice Lloyd College, Warren Wilson College. It's like they're all trying something different.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
They're thinking outside the box. It just goes to show you how many different ways there are to do higher education. It's not one size fits all.
Totally.
And that's important for students to remember, especially if they're just starting to look at colleges.
Absolutely. It's about finding the right fit. And hey, even if those tuition-free options aren't the right fit, those promise programs seem like they could be a game changer for a lot of people.
I think so too. To be able to graduate without any debt,
Right.
that's huge. That's life-changing.
It really is. And it's not just for 2-year programs either, right? Like
Yeah.
you said, New York has one for 4-year degrees.
Exactly. Do your research. See what's out there. There's so many options these days.
It's like a treasure hunt for your education.
I love that.
Yeah.
It is. It totally is.
But even if you do find a great program, you still have to be realistic about those other college expenses,
For sure.
Because tuition free, sadly, doesn't mean completely free.
Yeah, I wish. I think it's really important to just be upfront and honest about the cost of college from the beginning.
Yeah,
Have those tough conversations about money. It might be awkward, but it's important.
definitely. And don't let the cost be the only thing that you're thinking about either, right?
Right.
There's academics, what campus life is like, what kind of career services they have. All that matters too,
So true.
if not more.
Absolutely. You got it.
It really is all about finding the right school for you, isn't it?
It's about so much more than just the name on that diploma. It's about what you learn, the connections you make, the experiences you have, right? It all shapes who you become.
That's such a good point. It's not always about the most expensive school, is it? The article really made me realize that those things can happen anywhere if you make them happen.
Exactly.
Which, speaking of, kind of gets me thinking okay, if cost were no object at all, what would your ideal higher education experience look like?
Oh, wow. Dream college scenario.
Yeah.
That's a fun one for me. It would be like this amazing blend of diving deep into a subject, but also being able to actually use what I'm learning.
Oh, yeah.
Like imagine semesters abroad, but they're just built into whatever you're studying.
Hmm.
Or internships, they're like apprenticeships. You get to learn from the very best in your field.
Okay, sign me up. What else?
Definitely small class sizes, like so small that you actually have time to discuss and debate ideas with your professors and classmates.
Yeah.
And you'd have access to the best resources. I'm talking state-of-the-art labs, a library that has like all the books you could ever want, but also incredible digital archives. It would be a total learner's paradise.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
Right.
I would go back to school for that.
Right. And a place that really, really nurtures your curiosity, where there's no limit to what you can learn. I mean, I know those places exist to an extent, but imagine if money wasn't a factor at all.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
What a vision. And it just highlights something that's so important, right? Like maybe we can't snap our fingers and make college free for everyone, but we can be really intentional about creating our own ideal learning experiences, whether that's finding really specific programs or connecting with a mentor or just using all the resources that are out there.
100%. Be resourceful.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, and never lose that love of learning. That's what matters.
Yes, a million times, yes. This deep dive into college tuition has been so eye-opening, honestly. I think we busted some myths, we uncovered some secrets like those net price calculators.
Right. Those should be advertised everywhere.
For real.
Yeah.
So, to everyone listening, whether you're like drowning in college applications right now, or you're trying to figure out how to pay for future tuition, or you're just curious about how this whole college thing works, keep asking questions. Don't be afraid to look for different options. And definitely don't let those crazy sticker prices stop you from pursuing your dreams. Okay.
You got this.
You got this.
Yeah.
And hey, who knows? Maybe someday we'll be doing a deep dive on your innovations in affordable education.
I love that. There you go.
Right. That's the dream. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time. Keep those brains buzzing.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.